Hello, so I got disconnected, so this is video number 4. The previous one will be put before this one, will be posted before this one. All right, as you can see, this is a very telling scene here. There are many clues. One is, if you look here, you will see a winged figure. You see a winged figure, some kind of a creature with wings. Usually these are angels or fallen angels. In our belief and so on, they're different, right? We call them jinns. Uh, and as you can see, it's a rundown place, whatever that is. And then here, but in the distance, you will see as if there is someone, a human being or a figure that is shrouded with, like covered with a shroud, sitting down, but it's also headless, right? And here, let me show you something here. Here you will also see a headless figure, a statue, small statue. So this here is the guy who's sitting as if it's sitting on piano, a shroud, covered with a shroud, sitting on a piano seat, bench, and like as if it's playing the piano. And here there is a headless human beings, right? And then that is standing on top of a machine. So the headless figure here is the machine. What is this machine? It looks like an electrical machine, right? And it's got wires connected to the inside of this room here, that mysterious room. And then on it, you will observe here, on it, you will observe the letter Z in white, right? Just right where that scratcher is. The letter Z in white. What does the letter Z signify? Alpha and Omega, Generation Z, World War Z movie by Brad Pitt, or it is the Z on the tanks and military hardware and military machine of Rabbi Putin invading Europe, because those Anglo-Saxons, which are playing piano here, are going to be decapitated, is what he's trying to say here. But they become a machine, right? And then the machine is providing copper top, as Switch called him. He's just a battery that provides energy and so on. I will speculate on that later. I will try to surmise some facts from that as well. Because the copper top concept is really a little bit disturbing for me. Not that somebody calls you a battery, guess what? But it has significance as well.
Let me give you one piece of advice. Be honest.
The Megalodon is on the front door. Get the net ready, because we're gonna have to, or the hook or whatever it is, they have to hook that. He's just about to, how they raise or lift a large fish or a shark or a whale onto a boat, right? They have those lifting equipment, reels and the cables and so on, and they lift the whale onto the deck of the ship, and they start dissecting that and cutting it apart, right? He's almost about to be lifted in there as well.
He has more than you can imagine.
Yeah, they're watching him and raising him, in fact, from whenever he was a baby, isolating him. Basically, he's from nowhere. I mean, if you look at the movie, if you try to surmise or look at the timeline of the movie, the biography of Neo and his history, he comes from nowhere, right? He's just he has no parents. Nobody told him what to do. He's just like I said, I think earlier, he's just oblivious to life. He's functioning as raw material. Someone who's never learned anything. Why? Because nobody, parents or anybody else, cared to teach him what he's lost. Right? He's a lost soul, if you will. But he proved to be very powerful, right? That he was successful in computing and so on and so forth. Oh, I can relate to that. But again, whenever the trend of him never getting answers or asking questions and never getting answers and being blinded and wool pulled over his eyes and will continue. This will never end. Even if here at this point you think he's about to be rescued from his loneliness, from his desolation, from his brain being wasteland because nobody really, a parent or anybody else cared to put anything in his mind, right? Maybe he was born what you call an orphan or taken as a baby, right? And then he's being blinded intentionally, right? Or at least coerced and harassed and abused and so on as to become void of anything that is normal, right? Yet this guy made it this far, which tells you he's really powerful as an individual. Again, here the room is run down, and I don't know, run down, right? Uh, uh, it's still denoting it's ancient. It does appear, like I said earlier, like squalid conditions, squalors, rundown buildings, and maybe this is like as if they're trying to impress on you it's under ancient, or at the same time it's nobody suspects, right, that this place is so significant as it really swallows up humans, right? I can say so much about that, but there's nothing ancient about those. Well, some is ancient, yes, but this here, the matrix or masonry or something, it's not that old. Uh-oh, flashing lights, and storm. A storm is brewing, right? Looming. This guy, like whenever they say show you like lightning and thundering and so on, uh, that's artificial, of course. But here, what they're trying to say is this guy is really grandiose, a grandfather or parent or master or whatever it is. No matter how useless he is or how good he is, right? Or how good or bad he is, or how efficient or genius or powerful or weak he is. But by the time you get there, right? Now maybe somebody like Neo, no, not Neo, Morpheus's friends here and there in that building, they have a thundering and lightning machine outside, so they work it out to affect to affect the psyche of Neo here. Similar to when he was approached by the agents, you know how they entered like with that psychological spin, intimidation. Here, I think this is being practiced on him again. That scam is practiced on him again. Uh-oh. Oh, look at that. That is powerful, man. At last, the fish, the big Ledan whale fish is right on the dock.
Welcome you.
Welcome.
As you no doubt have guessed, I am Morpheus.
Fine. After all this torture and torment and isolation and harassment and deprivation and all his life, right? And abuse and finally, time for him to realize that he needs to bow down.
No, the honor is mine.
Right now, Morpheus and whoever it is will say anything to actually keep the deception run going,
Please, come, sit.
Sit. So you will see the glass of water that has significance. Uh, Honestly, I don't know its significance. I will speculate on that. Now he's gonna do uh, uh, Morpheus. He's gonna do his play, his act. Everybody was working hard to bring, Neo to him, right? Now he harvests, he eats, everybody goes to their work. Now, when you saw that figure, let me take you back. Give me a second.
I'm
Okay, as I explained it, I don't know if I explained it in the previous video, but here, that figure is sitting on top of the globe, right? So this guy is, the winged creature sitting on top of the globe, right? So what that means is when you go inside this room, this is who you're gonna meet: the winged creature sitting on top of the globe. Sitting on top of the globe is not like lifting the globe. So there is a author called Ayn Rand, right? Ayn Rand. So there is a figure we know about called Atlas. Atlas is shown as a human being, kneeling down on the ground and then carrying the globe over his shoulders, right? And then Ayn Rand, being of course of Zion. Ayn means I, right? It's I. When you say I, it's Ayn. It's really from Arabic. And Ayn and I in English is really from Arabic. It's I, right? So Ayn Rand wrote a book called Atlas Shrugged. So Atlas is the guy who carries Earth, right? But this guy Morpheus is the guy who sits on top of it, right? So it serves him, he owns it, and if he wants to take a leak or whatever it is, he dumps it on that globe. So please you misunderstand what that is, and that when he goes inside, he is going to meet that particular creature who's Morpheus, Rabbi Morpheus. Fred Nietzsche said something in his book when he said God has died. God is also sometimes thought of as Atlas, the Atlas that is carrying the earth, right? Or life or humanity or whoever it is. It's a metaphor, right? The picture is a metaphor. He says, God, that's Nietzsche. He said, God died because he so much loved humanity, or don't quote me on exact words of his expression. Not Fred said that God died because he so much loved humanity. God is always giving humanity laws and rules and civilization and science and so on, but not Morpheus. Morpheus basically, or this winged figure, is really sitting on atop the earth and using it, and maybe it's his restroom or something. I don't know, right? All right, let's continue.
walking the truth.
Okay.
Imagine.
All right. So now, like I said, he's gonna do his play. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's better. Better reflection.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole.
Are you fucking kidding me? Why? He didn't just fall into the rabbit hole himself. Lewis Carroll, remember? He just like somebody shoved him down the rabbit hole. Rabbit usually means, if you misunderstand it, rabbit, and including Bugs Bunny, of course, is really the devil that lives underground. Why? Because it illustrates a mischievous creature with two very long horns or ears, right? And then he lives underground. He always have a hole underground that he lives in, and he's mischievous. So really, when you watch Bugs Bunny, when you watch when you're being told about, or you read Lewis Carroll's Rabbit Hole and White Rabbit, he is trying to beautify or make Satan, or the guy who lives underground, supposedly, that's what I hear they say, where he is, they point usually under, is that they make him appealing, like appealing and lovable and likable and so on, similar to those movies that you see lately, cartoon movies, where dinosaurs fly against each other, and there's that little devil-like dinosaur who kills the big dinosaur. They're trying to appeal, make those figures appealing. I forgot his name. Now, what are the chairs? I don't know. The chairs are always red. Those army chairs are always red. But they have the figure of a lion here, the head of the lion. What is a lion? I explained in my commentary in 2001 in Snake Odyssey. A cat is always the master of the house, right? No matter what you think you're doing, cat is always the one that is going around you, right? Accommodating you in that space when you think it's the other way around. Cats are on the top of creation here on Earth, right? They're evil, right? But here, it also that the cat figure or the Sphinx figure appear also in the movie Alien. You will see it in one of my commentaries. As well as it is, it doesn't care. A cat is a ruthless animal. It kills other animals, right? And it doesn't care. So when you sit in a chair like this, you in a red army chair, you are one of those reds, the devils, but then you have the personality of a cat, right? A cat does do what they want. You can never. That's why in a certain movie, Anthony Hopkins talking about cats and dogs, right? Talking about cats and dogs. So this is a cat. He says they never give them names because they never respond to names. Remember that? When Anthony Hopkins was wearing a white shirt and black pants. I forgot what that is. And he is portraying evil, right? He says cats, we never give them names. They never respond to names, right? So this guy is a lion, right? It's a cat, but he's being tamed. Or more, for that matter. Hold on to your seats. That's coming up.
I can see it in your eyes.
Ah, you can see it in his eyes.
You have the
You have the look. So now this is, although these are very simple statements, but they're very powerful psychological spins, right? You have the look of a man who accepts what he sees. Really? Now he imprinted that in his head because what he's going to propose later, he will accept, right? Because that he influenced him, right? By the time he offers the pills, he had influenced his brains and switched it into the acceptance mode, right? The way he's moving and the way he's acting and so on. Water, I don't know what water is here. Honestly, I don't know the significance of water, but I think it's got some probably bad chemical in it.
look of a man who accepts what he sees because he is expected to wake up.
Expect what he sees because he's expecting to wake up. See, this is associations. You accept what you see, then you wake up, right? I don't know what that means, folks. I really don't know what that means.
Ironic. This is not far from the truth.
It's not far from the truth, but it's not the truth. It's not the truth, right?
Do you believe in fate?
Aha, the big word, fate. So fate is a big subject that was debated along after the appearance of Islam, like 200 years later. A lot of discussions around the concepts that it has, whether we live according to fate. It's called predestined, right? We do what is predestined. This guy here, as well as other weirdos out there, they also discuss that. He discusses that in this movie lightly, but so are we fate? Are we living according to fate that we have no choice but to do what we do and so on? Or and are we predestined? Or do we have some kind of a freedom? In my belief, we are mostly predestined, but we have certain freedom, and that is making our choice in belief. That's all. Oh, see? He got him. Because many people just don't believe in fate, right?
Why not?
Why not? See, he never offers him any information. He just asks him and bounces the facts back at him like a pitch, right? And then a home run. He modifies the concepts and work around it. For Morpheus, He's seen that all too often. It's the conversation is almost typical. He trains on it. Grand Rabbi or Grand Master.
Because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
Aha! Not in control of your life. That, folks, I can write a book on. Meaning, they convince you you're not in control of your life, only to dislodge you from your humanity. You're all alone. Well, he's been all alone, all along, right? Ever since his childhood. But that said, we cannot be so autonomous and so alone. We live in humanity, right?
I know exactly what you mean.
Oh, look at the moves. That guy, Morpheus, trained a lot on these moves. So when Neo walked in, just before entry, he saw in his subconscious, right, unconscious, observed the scenery, right, and observed, the scenery as to influence his brain, his unconscious brain, right, which may denote what they're looking for within him, the other creature, right?
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain. But you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there. Like a
There's something wrong with the world, like a splinter in your mind. Now, these are ominous words, right? Yeah, there is something wrong with the world, and that's him, Morpheus and his Zion, and it's a splinter in our minds. I don't know. There's always what's beyond. I know that for a fact. But and that's the world, the interdimensional world that Morpheus is and what he's talking about. It's a little bit hard to decipher what's going on here. You have to really find the literature or the books that they reference and the belief and the foundations of their thinking. But here, that's what I think it is. Here, he's just handling him, right? He's pressing his mind and trying to coerce him or coerce him into something.
driving me mad. It is this feeling that is broken to me.
Notice the black eyes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Matrix.
Or masonry, right? So now the boy has been enchantment, right? He's mesmerized. So all this dance that Morpheus did and said and played, it is a mesmerizing, it's a hypnosis, right? He's just hypnotized him.
Do you want to know what it is?
Aha.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all,
All right. So
even now in this very room.
that's him. He's talking about himself. Basically, it's everywhere. That's where he is.
You can see it.
Okay. So here, when he said it's here in this room, you could see the fireplace, right? They immediately show you the fireplace. The fireplace is where demons dwell, right? The fireplace has always been, and some people of those guys, they bow down to it or something like that. But then you see here, there's two things and one thing. Whenever you see the two things and one thing, right, that denotes the, that this here, right, is like, I think that's Satan or something of the sort. So that's his house. It's the fireplace. Maybe it means hell or something like that. Again, the glass of water, I don't know what it is, but I think it's got like some real bad chemicals in it. We didn't drink that water no matter what. All right. When you look out your window,
Look out your window, or when you turn on your television,
yeah, so I see that too.
you can feel it when you go to work.
He felt it when his manager dressed him down when they started the process of converting him.
When you go to church,
When you go to church, yeah.
when you pay your taxes.
And you pay your taxes. they hit you hard.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
Aha. What is the truth?
What truth?
What truth? This is the only time he answers a question. Neo gets an answer for a question, and that question will be the truth, but it is parts of the truth, not the full truth.
That you are a slave, Neo.
Aha. He just told him that you are a slave. Slave to whom? By what means? Slave to Neo and Zion is what he's saying. That he was born here, this guy. Neo, poor Neo, was born as a slave to Zion. That's all he was born. Did I show you that headless figure in the hallway as being a machine feeding Neo all that he is without a head? And the other figure sitting down playing piano? I explained that, I think, right? Neo is in for that.
Like everyone else, you were born under bondage.
Not me. Not the majority of people in this, all the world in this people. Caliph Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, he said, when did you enslave people? That's the second caliph of Prophet Muhammad. He said, when did you enslave people? And they were born free. متى استعبدتم الناس وقد ولدتهم أمهاتهم أحرارا. When did you enslave people? When their mother gave them birth as free individuals. That's what he said. I think it was relevant to a certain black man.
Born into a prison that
You cannot see your text. Here, I want to subscribe to him. We are in a confinement, really, in this world. We cannot break through into other dimensions, and we are told that that's what this world is, right? You know, here it's a test. It's a life that we live, that we are tested, we are, and so on and so forth, right? So there's some truth to that, but we have to do good, right? That does not mean if you're in a prison that you go harm your fellow prisoners, or if you're in a university, you don't go harm your fellow students, or in a family, you don't harm your family, or manipulate them, or harass them, or do whatever to them, right? That could also be mental. The prison here, and I think this is more likely, the prison here is really when Neo was born, he was harassed and he was isolated and he was demented and he was completely isolated from knowledge, and he's got like his brain is a wasteland and no man's land, and basically he's just void of knowledge of nobody taught him what he does, right? So he is in a virtual prison. No matter where he walked, his surroundings always isolated him, and so on and so on. He's just alone, right? Often the case, the Neos of this kind, they usually falter from when they reach their youth, you know, and they begin to understand, you know, like be conscious of things and so on. They falter because they're all alone and they're being harassed and they're being tormented and so on and so forth, right? That's what he means. They got him this far, and now he's stating the fact to him. So you're a slave, you understand?
prison for your mind.
Prison for your mind, see? See? That's right. So he knows there's always something bothering him or me or you or anybody else. You know, the way people or other Morpheuses or agents, or not the agents, Morpheuses, deal with each other, it's not like how they deal with him. He's always the outsider, right? He's always surrounded, he's always blindfolded, he's always deafened, he's always mute, you know, like made mute, his tongue is cut and so on. So you see what I'm saying? And that's the work of Morpheus. But they got him this far, he got this far because he's too powerful. There's something in him that's really powerful, right? And that's what they're trying to do now. Oh, he's good to, bow down and lick boot and shit like that. And this Megalodon, superhuman.
Unfortunately,
Now he withdraws on him. You see, if there's something that cannot be told before you're part of it, there's something wrong with that. That concept itself, in itself, is wrong, is erroneous. If you tell me to enter a room and you'll never tell me what's in that room, I'll never enter. Why? Because automatically I will conclude that there's something bad in that room. Because if there's something good, you will tell me. Or if I knew you or trusted you deep enough that I would enter based on my trust and love to you. Often the case, people fall into that trap because of their emotions, not because of their. I know that all too well. You know, they fall into that trap because of their emotion, the love and trust and so on. They were trained, to. Their emotions were molded and trained by psychological means, by abuse, by whatever, right? And they don't know, right? Their mind is disabled because of the mind. Our mind as human, it works and it learns by experience.
Oh, what the matrix is.
No, you can never thought, right? So again, he withdraws. He never gives him any information.
You have
Now he's looking at them and he thinks he's ready.
to see it for next time. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland.
All right. Watershed moment. By now, Neo has no choice. If he says, I'm going to take the blue pill and leave, guess what? He can't. They're going to get him. I mean, even in the car, before he got this far, right? Even in the car, in that Lincoln car, evil looking car, before he got this far, right? Where after the water, like after they entered the other side of the bridge, breaching the water, he was in the inner sanctum. And they threatened him, you will be all alone, right? But they couldn't kill him then. Why? Because they want to get him behind that door, right? So now, it's too late. He can't just make that decision and say, I'm going to go back. I don't like this and shit like that. Oh, no. This is, for Neo, it's all over. It's all over. Now, the reeling the whale and its carcass onto the dock of the fishing boat, has already commenced. So the blue bill and the green bill, or whatever that is, it doesn't matter. Now, if he takes the blue bill, it's the same as the red bill. The blue pill is the same as the red pill. Why am I saying that? If you want to leave, you don't need to take the blue pill, really. You just pick up and leave. So it's really a red pill. Take it or don't take it. Or if you take the blue pill, right, same effect, right? It's the same thing, right? Now notice, I told you about the reflection of the eyes at the agent's sunglasses, right? But why now they're showing you Neo here, right? They're showing you Neo because here what they're trying to tell you is that entering here, even though they never told you about anything, right? This is your decision, right? And you, as a human being like I am, right? You may say, but that's deception. Yeah, but guess what? There's so much deception in this world. Sometimes you learn things from the least likely places or individuals. I'm going to tell you a story. One day I was watching Larry King, and his host, his guest is Frank Sinatra, I think. Now, throughout the conversation, it was nice, you listen to Frank Sinatra and Tim and so on. And then Larry King turns around like this, in a condescending fashion. And he says to him, right? He asked him, why are you here, right? Now, I was taken aback. In my mind, you invited him. And sure enough, Sinatra's answer was, because you invited me, right? That's not how it works. For Morpheus, And Zion, you're not there because you're invited. Even if you're invited, you're there because you have some kind of a persuasion, you have leverage, you don't have leverage. Because if you were anything above Larry King, Frank Sinatra would not even show up, right? Try to send an invitation to, say, if you're an Englishman or whoever you are, uh, Syrian or whoever it is. Just call the White House or call the Buckingham or call wherever it is and invite that guy. Hey, let's go to coffee. He's not going to come, right? Why? You see, the Morpheus and Zion, they segregate people according to certain things, right? I mean, you understand what I'm saying here? So Neo came here, sure, they harassed him and all and all and all, and they're guilty they're as guilty as hell, right? But he should have fought back, right? That's life. Guess what? That's life.
And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Uh-huh. See, so the reflection now in the sunglasses is saying that that's your decision. See, now he's showing him himself. Now he's looking. He can't say, I didn't make that decision. Yes, it is you who made that decision. You have to be smart enough to know this is deception. He's confused now. I want you to observe something. You see behind Morpheus here? There's a statue, headless statue, decapitated statue, right? And I showed you that outside on the two figures. One is covered with shroud, he has no head, and one head is headless, it's as if he's sitting on top of the that electric machine or something. So he's a machine but has no head. What does that tell you here? Neo is being decapitated. Metaphorically or even physically, hold on to your seat.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing more.
That's not true. He's not offering the truth. Truth to what? Right? All I'm offering is the truth. He's not offering the truth. Here he lied. But he's also right because he told him precisely and he showed him the statues and whatnot and in his words, he told him what it is. But this guy is dumb. He didn't understand it. The level of the conversation is hidden. It's multi-layered, right? But notice, he told him he's offering him the truth. In reality, he didn't. But in reality, he didn't. He deceived him. But guess what? You have to be resilient. So in other reality, he did tell him, but not directly. So you have to be smart enough to survive. That's what life is, right? In our religion, we don't do that. We offer you the truth right away. All right. So now the pill, I don't think the water has much in it, but the mix, chemical mix, the pill has to be dissolved with water, and if it is dissolved with water, the water will be red, right? So if he saw that the water is red, he may hesitate and pull back and not drink it. Why? Because we always look at the food. You know, in the Arabs said something before. The eye eats before the mouth does, right? Or yeah, the eye eats before the mouth chews the food, right? So if the glass of water had red fluid in it, I don't think Neo here, poor Neo, dumb Neo, idiot, right? And I don't blame him. You know, he was never initiated, never woken up, and he was just being isolated in a solitary confinement in life, and he just doesn't know much, right? Or he's a little bit has like places his trust where trust shouldn't be. But guess what? You just mix it inside, right? So you take the pill and drink the water. Observe the facial micro expression on Morpheus's face. Did you Did you see the thundering machine and the lightning? Something is about to happen. God is not satisfied with what's going on. And he's smiling. Hallelujah. Ah, you're hot, makar, fakar, plakar, plak. Right? You see what I'm saying here? Now, it's too late. If he feels anything bad, he should really try to barf or regurgitate it, like throw up, right? But it's not gonna occur to him. But he just got decapitated. Look at this statue here. That's it. It's too late. Now he's gonna. Things are gonna happen to him.
We alarm.
Almost online, almost. So they were in preparation for what he's doing. Give me a second here. All right. Notice how they're looking at him, and there are plenty of devices here.
Time is always against us.
Time is always against us. All right, you know what? I'm gonna stop here, and that's video number 4. But from here on, it'll get interesting. Notice the machines here. So this here looks like a hadron collider, right? As if it is those machines that have a lot of magnetism and so on. I mean, to me, it sounds like what's going on here. But I'll explain to you what's going on here. From here on, it gets disturbing. The movie is disturbing.